and attempt that again. So apologies, everyone. Sorry, guys, there's a few technical issues happening in the...
You want to see if I can share, Lise?
That's all right. I think I've got it.
Okay.
Pairing Skills organisation acknowledges the traditional custodians of country throughout Australia and their connections to land, sea and community. We pay our respect to their elders, past and present, and extend that respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people here today. Right, here we go. We've got a packed agenda for you today. We will be going through the 2025 workforce plan and asking for people to share their feedback before we go through a UEE full training product review information. We'll then move on to the subject matter expert and technical committee process before we go to the training product development update. Kurt is going to give us a policy update before I'll give us a run through of the events happening. So over to you, Vicky.
Thanks, Lisa. So on our website, we have now released our 2025 workforce plan. So you can go through that QR code to give, is that directly to feedback, Lisa, or is that to the workforce planning page? Directly to feedback.
It will be the landing page that will have the feedback link on it.
Okay, excellent. So you can either go through that QR code, but I implore you all to go to our website anyway. We've got all our projects listed there. So, if you're on a computer now, go to www.pairingskills.com.au, and you will find not only our workforce plan, but we have some states and territory insights. Now, personally, I find those state and territory insights one of the most useful pieces on this workforce plan because it gives you more local information. At the same time, we also have our dashboard. Now, if you haven't used our dashboard yet or are familiar with it, it has some areas in which you can filter your local area. We've got a fantastic new page on there which shows you where the res zones are, then also how many apprentices are in those regions as far as that we can ballpark them with the data available. It's really worthwhile to go and look in to see who's available around your local area. And, for our future planning, we see opportunities to be able to better predict when there's productivity or jobs or big projects going on in an area. How many apprentices do we have available to be able to fulfill that job? That's the pie in the sky where we really want to get to in our workforce planning. Now, our workforce plan is a culmination of 12 months work, and it's also the culmination of feedback from our stakeholders. If you haven't been one of our stakeholders in the past that's been able to give feedback into our workforce plan, please go into this workforce plan, give it a read or a scan. There's short bite-sized pieces that you can digest, and there is an opportunity for you to give feedback now, post-plan. So there's a survey or an evaluation form you can go into. Tell us what you think about it. Tell us what's missing. And hopefully in the next time we do this, we'll be able to include some of your insights. Now we're going to go in and show you a bit of our video. So part of our workforce planning session, our activity is to do some case studies. And we've got a couple of case studies in the plan. We've also done some interviews and case studies around workforce. Now, I'd like you to meet Brett Harvey. So Brett Harvey is an instrument and control technician at Earring Station. And he's going to talk to you a bit about how he transitioned to a new pathways and the options that were available to him when we're closing down these power stations. And he works for an organisation, Origin Energy, which I'm sure that you're all familiar with. And it really shows how Origin, it's a big company, how they work to keep employees engaged in their community and engaged in the work. So with no further ado, I'd like to introduce you to Brett. Let's play his story.
Okay, let's hope technology doesn't fail me and you can all hear this. Please let me know if you can't.
I've built him up.
My name is Brett Harvey. My role at the power plant is a INC technician, instrument and control technician. Day to day, it's interesting stuff. Things going wrong and fixing them suits my brain, have an analytical brain. I'm doing what I like doing and I'm good at. Yeah, instrumentation stuff, or control mainly, running, diagnosing control problems and fixing them. Looking for solutions to problems. The reaction to their closure, I was pretty shocked. I must say I was cruising in life because it was going all right. I had lots of anxiety and depression and stuff like that. Went through that, come out the other side, ready to start a new challenge. And guys younger than me shouldn't have to worry as much because there is work out there. And guys who have been here their whole life, I've talked to a few of them, said you'll be right.
The initial shock comes, people were open to discussing the way they were feeling too, so you kind of have that camaraderie. And then comes the announcement that you are going to be paid to train up in whatever area you wish. How was that journey for you?
I had to really think about what I wanted to do, and I've done instrumentation sort of courses, so Cert 3 and a Cert 4, partway through a diploma in that. And I did the TAE, training and assessing. That was just something that interested me. Well, I did the Cert 3 in instrumentation because that's like a trade level. Even though I've got an advanced diploma, I've been to like South Australia where they won't recognise the advanced diploma as being an instrumentation dude. You needed to have the Cert 3 and do the trade. I'm looking at a certificate in renewable energy or something like that. I looked at the TAE, something I could use there, and with the skills I've got already, I could use that all over the country. So try all these, and working through a couple of them, it got to a point, well, I don't really want to go that direction, so we'll wipe that one off, and which was a lot of the renewables stuff, but that was more the actual physical installing, and I was more happy to move it into the design sort of area there. I've taken this secondment. It's a similar role, but just in a different area, actually coordinating maintenance and stuff. Previous to now, I don't know if I would have done it. It just come up at the right time. It's just confident I can do this sort of work, and just life in general. And the kids are all grown up. My wife's happy to come. It was the right time. I always wanted to do, different things. It excites me to help people, and I know I've got a lot of knowledge and need to give that to people coming up, especially. Like, there's different ways to do things. Everyone's got their own way, and you can teach people in different ways. It's rewarding.
I promise we didn't make that with stop motion. There's a bit of buffering there, and you can see those case studies online. But I think Brett's a really good example of one of the small areas of the world that we are trying to dabble in PSO, and look at how that we realign or transition and move skills in the industry. You can see he's a pretty humble bloke, but kudos to Origin. They've got a really great program there, and how they're trying to repurpose and realign skills, and people with the will and a way that a lot of people in the industry need support, and for us at PSO and our workforce planning and what we're trying to do is unlock those pathways and make those transitions easier. So please go to our website, have a look at the workforce plan, have a look at the data that sits there. So it's one of the major activities that we do during the year, and it really gives us that evidence base to be able to do work that you'll see here today. Back to you, Lisa.
Thanks, Vicky. Now over to Christina, who will talk us through the full UEE training product review.
Thanks, Lisa, and thanks, Vicky. I think that video really shows and leans into what we're trying to achieve with the UEE product review in terms of how do we make the UEE training product more relevant and fit for purpose for the current industry needs and the future needs of the industry. So this particular slide, I'm just going to give you a bit of an update on what we're doing and the outcomes of the qualification reform, and how we're implementing those reforms into the UEE full development review. As of the 1st of July of 2025, the qualification reform outcomes and the training package organising framework was updated to incorporate 2 different templates for unit of competencies. So we've called them template A and template B only because they were Annexure A and Annexure B in the TPOF. So if you want to have a look at that, we'll put the link to the TPOF in the chat for you. But essentially, PSO have had a look at these 2 templates, and we've really considered how they will be used moving forward by PSO. We are aware that other jobs and skills councils will also use the 2 different templates moving forward. So this is an education piece for you, and we will provide you with more information as we go through the review. But just to get you comfortable with the idea, your qualifications will come out with 2 different types of templates for your units of competency. So let me explain both of those. So template A is your current template that you're very familiar with. It has the unit of competency application, it has your elements, it has your performance criteria, and then it has your knowledge and skills assessment requirements. So it's very, it is exactly what you're used to. And then we've got template B, which is an application of skills and knowledge. So it is formatted differently in terms of the elements and performance criteria being switched out for skills required or skill outcome required, knowledge outcome required, and then the application of those skills and knowledge requirements or outcomes. So PSO have taken a look at these and thought, well, how do we use these moving forward? Because we believe that both templates have a place. Template A, we're going to, and the current looking templates for units of competency, we're going to stick with really with units that lead to a task-specific outcome. So we've got an example here for you where we are looking at, and it will be used for job outcomes that have an applied where we are requiring the person to perform skills to an industry standard at a procedural stage. So there is a procedure. We know that the elements and performance criteria is like a procedure that a person must go through. So where the job outcome requires a specific procedural process, and the student must be able to perform the skills in that procedure, template A will be what we will use. If we go to template B, we are going to use it for units that lead to an underpinning skills and knowledge acquisition for the student. So this could be in our Cert 2s, but it also could be in our Cert 3s, Cert 4s, and our diplomas or advanced diplomas. So what we mean by underpinning skills and knowledge, it's about developing the applied skills, the underpinning principles that lead to a task-specific role. And so it is really allowing us to build in some flexibility around the fact that we don't need a procedure for underpinning skills and knowledge to teach through. We need to be able to teach those skills. So that's where we've differentiated the 2 and how we'll be using those 2. So the examples that we have up there link to an outcome in a Cert 4, but we will give you more information as we go forward through the development process. And we're developing a fact sheet at the moment. So once that fact sheet is completed, we'll put that up there for you, up onto our website. So if there's any questions in relation to that, happy to answer. Yes, Patrick, the Appendix B will be very useful for the diplomas and advanced diplomas. Yeah. Okay, if we go to the next slide, Lisa. We have kicked off that full review with all of our SME groups, which is fantastic. So the last couple of weeks, we have engaged with 9 SME groups related to the UEE industry. So we broke it down into 10 originally, but we've identified and we've merged data and voice with electronics and comms because of the similarities and the sharing of so many units across those particular industry areas. So now we've got 9 SME groups. The last SME group being ran today is Hazardous Areas by Philip. And then we will be reviewing the outcomes of these SME discussions. So we've had onboarding sessions for, I'd say, roughly 150 people so far that are helping us build the UEE qualification, a training package. So if we go to the next slide, Lisa, just to give you an overview of who we've got in the room when we are talking SME groups, you will see that the number of participants on this slide. I won't go through all of this for you, but we have ensured that we have got all jurisdictions represented where we can across all of these SME groups. So in the third column, you'll see which jurisdictions are represented for each of those SME groups. And then finally, we have ensured that we have covered off as many stakeholder groups as we can in these SME groups to ensure that we're getting that really extensive viewpoint from employers, RTOs, our union representatives, our regulators, and so forth, because each person has a different a lens to bring to this review, and it will strengthen the outcomes of the qualifications by having those diverse views in the room. Exciting news, and what we'll bring to you next month in the insights is that we have our technical committee starting off or kicking off on the 1st of October as well. So it's full steam ahead when it comes to the review process, the UEE review, which is really, really exciting. Now, if the SME groups, we are, if you believe that there's somebody that needs to be in that and they're not in that group, make sure that you let us know and reach out to us on training@poweringskills.com.au. Patrick, has the lift industry been invited? Yes.
Any more questions on that before we move on? No, well, feel free to put things in the chat if not. Thanks, Christina. I think we're going over to Phil now. Is that right?
That's right.
Training product development update. I'll hand over to you.
Thanks, Lisa, and thanks, Christina. Yeah, so while Christina had a bit of a chat there about the UEE, the full training product review there, it hasn't stopped us from continuing on with our other projects. They're still underway, still in full flight. So I'll just give a little bit of an update there. Our Creating Energy Sector Gateway, or the Cert 2 Gateway, as we call it. So this project going really well. The draft products are now out for public consultation. I believe they close on the 7th of October. So anyone who wants to get their final comments in around that new, and I say a brand new qualification there, please jump onto our website and give feedback through our projects page. Once we have all that feedback, it'll go back to the technical committee and they'll look at implementing that feedback into that project where necessary. Our low and no enrolment projects, the draft recommendations for this project have been completed and are now out with the state and territory and industry bodies and state training authorities, regulators, to have a look at where this information sits and just to get their feedback and their recommendations on what we have found. The final feedback for this one is due, I think it's tomorrow, actually, the end of the week. And then PSO will finalise and put those findings into a format that we can easily use them. But that will also feed into the UEE project that Christina was talking about there. So those SME groups, the technical committees, will be looking at those qualifications with those low and no enrolments. So that'll really help those projects out. Another one is the V2X accreditation, Vehicle to Everything. The project that's specifically about the bidirectional charging of EV vehicles and pushing that charge back into the premises. So another exciting project it's just in the drafting stage, so a little bit more work to do on this one before those drafts are out for consultation. Our HV rubber insulated cable project, this was just one unit of competency, and the public consultation is now closed on this one. I think it's also been reviewed by the technical committee, the feedback that we received, and that will be going out to our SROs, state representatives, for feedback and endorsement on that particular unit of competency. The next one there is the mapping state and territory licensing regulations to training products. Again, this one's sort of in 2 or 3 stages. So the first stage was to have a look at the different licensings around the country, and that went out to all the state and territory regulators, licensing bodies, and again the ITABs, the IRCs, and those sorts of bodies. So great feedback from there. So we're incorporating that feedback into that project before we move on to the next couple of stages, which is looking at the capstone, the final unit in the 30820 electrician, and the OTSR, or the offshore technical skills record, those pathways into gaining that unrestricted electrical license as well. So that'll feed into that project. Again, that full project will help that full UEE project. So that information goes back into there to make sure that as we're designing those projects, they're aligning with those regulatory and licensing requirements in the states and territories. So another really very good project. And the other one I've got there is the First Nations bespoke qualification. So PSO is working on developing a skill set as a recommendation to take to stakeholders in this space. To help improve the energy literacy and numeracy as a pathway into the Cert 2, Cert 3 or other qualifications. And potentially, or in addition, looking at some RTO resources to be developed here to help underpin the implementation of that. And as this comes along, PSO will be doing that targeted consultation, making sure we're on the right track in this particular space. So yeah, bit of a quick update of where we're at with the training products. Thanks, Lisa.
Thanks, Phil. It certainly looks like you guys are kept busy at the moment. And I'm just checking comments coming through. I think Christina's on top of responding to them. So
okay, great. No worries.
Okay, so we will hand over to Kurt now for a policy update. And I know it's been a busy month in energy policy.
Thanks, Lisa. Hello, everyone. So last week, the federal government announced its long-awaited 2035 emissions reduction targets. And just about an hour ago, the Prime Minister addressed the United Nations to update them about it, which is in line with our commitment to the Paris Agreement. So today I'm going to give you just a brief overview of what that announcement sort of entailed and what that means for our sector and the broader economy. So in a nutshell, the government has set a new target for Australia for a 2035 emissions reduction of about 62 to 70% below 2005 levels. And that's in line with the independent advice they received from the Climate Change Authority. So to give you a bit of context, the current target that was set for 2030 is a 43% reduction. To reach this new 2035 goal, we would need to halve today's emissions, and we would require faster cuts in the next decade than the past 20 years combined. So alongside that target, the government has released a net zero plan, and this sets out economy-wide priorities for decarbonisation, and that's been supported by 6 detailed sector plans. So of those 6 sector plans, the electricity and energy sector plan is the one that's most relevant to our work. It's also the most important to overall decarbonisation because as electricity generation accounts for 34% of the current emissions in Australia, and various end uses of energy contribute a further 43% of emissions. So all of these documents are available now on the Department of Climate Change, Energy and Water's website if anyone wants to read them. But the plan sets out 3 major shifts that we need to have in our energy system to achieve net zero by 2030. And these include first using all energy, whether it's electricity, gas, or liquid fuels, more efficiently to reduce how much energy we need and how much infrastructure we need to support this. Second, it's changing how we power activities through electrification and fuel switching to allow us to take advantage of cheaper, cleaner sources of energy, including renewables. And third, it's scaling up how much energy we need to deliver to allow us to power homes, businesses, industry as we continue to reduce fossil fuel use. So the plan outlines 3 broad time phases for this overall transformation. The phase they've nominated for now to 2030 is the existing one, which is to reduce electricity sector emissions to reach 82% renewable generation by 2030, that is, with other sectors decarbonising through electrification. From 2030 to 2035, the goal is to continue decarbonising transport, the built environment, and industry sectors through electrification and energy efficiency. And they've nominated 2035 to 2050 to be focused on an acceleration of the switching to clean energy sources across all energy users and to achieve an efficient, affordable, reliable, renewable system by 2050. So through our recent workforce plan, PSO has already set out the workforce skills and training challenges facing the sector just out to 2030. So we know that meeting the accelerated demand for skilled workers, particularly in the electrical trades, across renewables, transmission, battery storage, electrification, and gases such as hydrogen and biogas will be even more critical to achieving the 62 to 70% reduction goal that they've set for 2035. So the government seems to already recognise this, and the sector plan directly addresses the need to build a strong clean energy workforce. And it's important to note that the plan also explicitly highlights PSO's role going forward, and that is to help inform the clean energy transformation and to be collaborating with industry to help build the workforce required. So it's obvious that further investment and actions is going to be needed on top of the status quo policy settings that we've got. But the government believes the 2035 target can be met using existing technologies, and they also believe it can be done while growing the economy at the same time. So alongside all of this, Treasury has also released economic modelling that shows an orderly transition to net zero would deliver a range of economic benefits, and some of these include an 81% larger economy by 2050 versus today, an extra 5 million jobs by 2050 with strong growth in manufacturing and construction, and they believe lower electricity prices in the long run compared to staying reliant on coal and gas. So the model also then has some data on what a disorderly transition with no credible 2035 target and a stalled action process until the 2040s would mean for the broader economy, and that's up to $2 trillion less in economic output by 2050, up to 54% higher power prices in the 2040s, and fewer jobs, lower wages, and weaker overall competitiveness for Australia. So the government has already announced a range of new funded initiatives to support this increased ambition alongside the net zero plan. And some of the more relevant ones to us include a new $5 billion net zero fund to help industrial facilities decarbonise and scale up more renewables and low emissions manufacturing. There's an additional $2 billion for the Clean Energy Finance Corporation. They've put $40 million aside to accelerate the rollout of curbside and fast EV charging across suburbs and regions. There's an extra $85 million for to help households and businesses improve their energy performance, and there's $50 million to help sports clubs decarbonise and adapt to climate change. So there's a lot happening in this space, and we'll be keeping a close eye on how these measures roll out going forward. And just finally, PSO's already has been increasing the volume of engagement we've had with public sector consultations. So to give you just a bit of an idea of the upcoming consultations that we're looking to contribute to, we've got the New South Wales government's review of its Apprenticeship and Trainee Act. Jobs and Skills Australia have got a consultation on their 2025 core skills occupation list, and there's a legislative review of the Jobs and Skills Australia Act coming up as well. So if any of our stakeholders or anyone listening thinks there are consultations out there that you think PSO should be engaging with or should have some visibility of, please feel free to send it through and be happy to have a look. So thanks very much for your time. I'll hand over now to Lisa.
Thanks, Kurt. We've actually got quite a bit of time up our sleeve, so just checking if anyone has any questions on that policy update, or anyone from PSO want to comment on some of the things coming through on the chat before we move on. No? Okay.
Can I say, raise your hand if you really would like to ask a question here. We're happy for people to speak out loud. We will we invite any questions that you might have.
Yeah, even if it's on the projects that we're running at the moment, we're happy to hear from you and keen to see what you guys are thinking. I might carry on and do the events update and give people time to think about that. So we've mentioned it before, but fast coming is the All Energy Australia conference. This is actually on the 29th and the 30th of October. We are sponsoring it, and we will be there running a room on the 30th of October. We have 3 sessions going on that day, one looking at digitisation and AI in the energy sector, one looking at transforming talent, upskilling and retraining for the energy workforce, which kind of ties into Brett's video earlier, if you were able to follow it along with those tech issues. And then session 3, industry-led training, building the workforce through education excellence. We welcome all of you guys to come along on that. This is a free event you just need to register for. It's being held in Melbourne. So any of you who are Melbourne based or happen to be in Melbourne over that time, please do come along. And session 3, as you can see there, we are putting on a few drinks as well. We'd love to network with you and hear more from you guys and meet you face to face. So please do come along. This month or next month, we've got the technical advisory groups happening. We've got 5 webinars happening between the 14th of October to the 31st of October. So those with a kind of technical viewpoint. If you're not on our mailing list already, you can hop on our website and go to get involved, and there's the tag button there to sign up and get the invites sent out to you. You can sign up to the ones that are relevant for you. Next month's Insights meeting will be on the 24th of October at 12 p.m. AEDT time, because obviously the clocks are about to change and we're all going to be thrown into even more time differences across Australia. And then just another reminder of that All Energy Conference in October on the 29th and 30th of October. And we do invite you all to connect with us. Please follow us on LinkedIn. We're very pleased this month to have reached 6,000 followers on LinkedIn. So it's great that in 2 years, there's so many of you who are really keen to hear what we're up to and engage with us. You can come to our website to find out more about the projects that we've got underway at the moment and how you can get involved in the consultation of those projects. There's a little link here to sign up to Energize, our monthly newsletter, and we send out all kind of things of what we're up to and sometimes little bits from the industry as a whole. Also, if you've got any things that you'd like us to include in Energize, you can send that through to us. For training and product related inquiries, please do email us at training@poweringskills.com.au. And I just check before I sign off. I think there is a question that's come through. Is anyone happy to talk to Patrick Schaaf's question there?
Steve has his hand up, Lisa.
Oh, I'm so sorry, Steve.
No, that's right. I actually wasn't going to talk to Patrick. I love you, Patrick, but I don't. So, no, just no. I was actually more interested, and we can come back to Patrick's question, but just is it Sagar Patel? Just your point around what measures are currently being implemented to ensure that all employers involved in hiring apprentices are complying with licensing requirements. Because it's a really interesting point. It is outside of the remit of PSO, so I should just really highlight that there's only a limitation on what we can do in that space. But I do like the thinking that's happening around industry, particularly too where we're looking at the qualifications and probably a bit more to what Christina and Phil were talking about earlier. As we design these, we want to make sure that the scope of work that you can do as an electrician is certainly covered in the qualification from a training product perspective. But we will work with the regulators, we will work with the state-based training authorities as well, just to make sure that any apprenticeship arrangement looks as it should do to make sure people are getting the on-the-job component of it. So just probably keep that in mind. But look, at licensing requirements, we really encourage you to go back to your state-based regulators if you have any concerns with that. It's not within our remit to be able to do that compartment of it.
Thanks, Steve. Just checking no one else. Phil?
Yeah, I was just going to add, and I will mention about Patrick. So hi, Patrick. I was just going to say, again, as we can't change a lot of those things about the TRA process or that trades recognition process, love to have a chat. And if there was anybody else out there that wanted to have a chat about that, that process, that will go a long way towards our project for the mapping the licensing requirements and that sort of thing. So again, while we can't change a lot, we're gathering all that information to put that out there so those pathways are really clear. So we'd love to have those conversations moving forward. So yeah, Patrick, love to catch up and have that chat. Thanks.
Okay, thanks, Phil. I'm just double checking there's nothing else coming through there. I don't think there is, so we'll give you all an early mark. Thanks so much for your time today, and please do keep in touch. We'll speak to you next month, if not before.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thanks all.